in my estimation, they are qualitatively different. What Hamas is publicly what it's doing is genocide. What Israel's doing is not genocide. You and I have talked about this war in Gaza for ever since it started, this phase of the 75-year conflict. And I have resisted going as far as you have done in your criticism of the Israeli government. I resist no more. I think we've reached common ground about what we view is happening and has been happening through this period of this blockade, which frankly is just starvation of the people there, including so many innocent young women and children. And I think that the incessant bombing and killing, and we don't know how many civilians have been killed, but it is on a daily basis. It looks like hundreds of people every day, with no apparent attempt, it seems to me, to have any real plan for how this ends or what happens when it ends, other than if you look at what Smodrich has been saying, probably the most right-wing member of a very right-wing government, he is talking in a genocidal language about kicking all the Palestinians out. So I think you and I have reached a place in the last few weeks where we are in agreement. But my question for you, Mehdi, is how does this end?
Just have to rule idiots out of your life. There's loads of idiots on social media, but there's loads of idiots on the high street. You just have to see them coming, I suppose. If someone's walking along the street with their shirt off shouting, cross the road. Same with social media. Block them, avoid them. They don't exist.
Benjamin Netanyahu, when he quoted Amalek, the scriptures, what does Amalek say? He quotes Amalek when they attacked the Israelites. And what God told the Israelites to do was to destroy kill every man, woman, child, and livestock. If I would put it to you, an Islamist leader was quoting a similarly genocidal passage from the Quran, you would not, I would say,
Can I respond?
Hesitate.
Can I respond?
We haven't. Just no. But you've had a lot.
Respond to that
I'm
point.
going to respond just quickly. Israeli officials said that Gaza will end up being a city of tents with no building standing. That they are attacking for damage, not for accuracy. The agricultural minister, Avi Dikti, he said we are rolling out a new Nakba. A Nakba is the mass expulsion, 700,000 Palestinians in 1948. This is why hundreds of genocide scholars, people who are actually, unlike you and I, experts in the field of genocide studies, fear that a genocide is taking place.
Two things spring to mind: greed and stupidity. And when they're mixed in amongst 8 billion people, that is an amazing cocktail. Greed and stupidity, I'd say. And they work very well together. As an enemy to mankind. Greed and stupidity.
So the difference between Israel and Hamas is Hamas does not have the capacity to wipe out Israel. Israel is wiping Gaza off the map. That's the point.
No. You've actually exposed the weakness in your argument. Israel does have the ability to kill everyone in Gaza tomorrow, and they're not doing it. In fact, well, hang on. What they're doing, and it's indisputable, they are issuing a number of warnings repeatedly to people to go south. Wait. And stay out of northern Gaza, right? And then they're pulverising it with airstrikes, and now they've gone in on the ground and they're waging battle with Hamas fighters, terrorists, right? No, hang on. So my point is this. Israel could, if they wanted to, kill everyone in Gaza. They decided not to do that.
Is your definition...
genocide is where you want to kill everyone.
Sorry. Your definition of genocide, because in Ukraine, Vladimir Putin hasn't killed every last Ukrainian. That's simply not happened. No, he hasn't. And nor has he stated his intention to do so, and nor, as brutal and barbaric...
Vladimir Putin, absolutely, by illegally invading a sovereign country and indiscriminately bombing anything in front of him...
Indiscriminately bombing?
...is waging a form of genocide.
Wow. Indiscriminate bombing. Gaza, more than 2 Hiroshima bombs worth have been dropped on East London in the space of 5 weeks.
OK, let me ask...
I sell my tours out on social media. It saves me doing interviews and stuff, I suppose. But it's not important in the greater scheme of things, is it? I mean, it is like reading every toilet wall in the world. But, you know, you don't have to do it. It's virtual. If you don't like it, don't go there. But it's funny, isn't it, how it took off? It sort of makes sense because gossip is in our evolution. We used sort of gossip to, you know, control the tribe. Because the point is we want to raise our status. We want to be respected. You know, that's our evolution. And the way you raised your status is two ways. Be good at something, be competent. People say, oh, he's a good hunter, he's good for the tribe. And the other way was virtue. Oh, he's not a great hunter, but he's kind or whatever. And then social media comes along and people can raise their status without meeting anyone by doing good content, or virtual signaling comes on as well, because people can suddenly go, oh, I'm virtuous, we've got no proof. They can be an absolute horror. But as long as they put the right things in their bio, everyone thinks, oh, they're good, they're a good person. So, but, I mean, it's just it's been a good tool for me as well as an observational comedian, because before social media, I'd have to actually bump into mental people. Now I can just listen to them from the safety of my mansion.
Poll about whether Piers Morgan is in fact a useful idiot of Israel. Now, it's important that people are aware of the following information when they make the decision on the poll. Piers Morgan's show is, while he claims it's independent, it is still something that happens under the auspices of Rupert Murdoch's News Corp International. Now, Rupert Murdoch has a long relationship with Netanyahu, which is, of course, well known. But there's another aspect to Piers Morgan's show which far less people know. His show is sponsored directly by ExpressVPN. Now, ExpressVPN, the sole owner of it is Cape Technologies. Cape Technologies is an Israeli company owned by Israeli billionaire Teddy Sagi. Now, during the war in Gaza, Teddy Sagi has given $3 million to Israeli soldiers, and he also provided $250,000 to help transport Israeli military personnel during the genocide. His co-founder at Cape Technologies is Kobi Menachemi, who was previously an employee of the Israeli spy group Unit 8200. And also the CEO of that organization, Cape Technologies, was previously Ido Ehrlichman, who was a soldier in Unit 217, the Duvdevan unit. They call them Musta'arabin. They go disguised as Arabs to carry out intelligence operations and assassinations against Palestinians, as we have seen a plethora of this sort in the recent period in Gaza, in Jenin, and other places. And the current head of accounting at Cape Technologies, very likely to be the person who allocates funding towards Piers Morgan or any of the other podcasts who are also sponsored by the Cape Technologies company ExpressVPN, is Liron Peer, who is also an alumni of Unit 8200. So here we literally see Piers Morgan, probably unbeknownst to him. I think he's completely aware of Rupert Murdoch's inclinations and associations, but I don't think he's so aware that ExpressVPN is a Cape Technologies owned enterprise, and Cape Technologies is literally directly related to the Israeli military. You also have to remember that Teddy Sagi owns Camden Market. So I think that if you were looking at boycotting, Camden Market would certainly qualify with this relationship with Teddy Sagi. We are really at a new juncture with all of this. You have the liberals of yesteryear who did Israel's bidding in the attritional war against Corbynism, where they cancelled everything that moved or breathed in a pro-Palestinian direction, today hand-wringing and in disbelief about Israel and its butchery against the people of Gaza. And there is really a bitter vindication in that for all of us who have really given so much sweat, tears, and actually blood for the Palestinian cause across these decades.
Why is it up to me to save the world? I didn't ask for this. It's not fair. Sex Pistols, pretty vacant. He was in trouble, wasn't he, yesterday? Well, no, he wasn't. I say in trouble. Some people went on Twitter. Why is he doing that? He wore a MAGA hat, apparently, which you shouldn't do, unless you're trying to annoy people when you're an old punk. And Stephen Knight, who's done my Sirius show a few times, He tweeted, I think he's G spell checker, when he was Godly spell checker. He tweeted this article, John Lydon angers fans wearing MAGA hat. And he quote tweeted it saying, "Iconic punk does something punk." Which is exactly right. Why are they surprised that he's trying to annoy people? He was in the Sex Pistols. This weird myth that punk was a left-wing revolution. Wasn't. It was rock and roll with safety pins. That any way they could find to annoy you, they would. Some of them wore swastikas, for God's sake. What do you think they liked the design? Or their dads were in the Third Reich? No, they wanted to annoy people. They wanted to cause a fuss. He's still doing it. I think that's so much better than just pop stars try and go with the flow and not annoy anyone. I don't want to offend anyone. I do remember I played Nevermind the Bollocks. That should be this theme tune, shouldn't it? To this load of bollocks. I played it for like 6 months. I used to run in from school. And I was in the sixth form at the time. And we had our own little sort of headquarters of sixth form at my school. So everyone was, what would they have been? 16, 17, 18. And there was only about 25 who were doing A-levels in my school, both years. And we were allowed a record player to play at breaks and lunchtime. And the headmaster used to come in and eat with us lunchtime, just hang out, be cool. And our job was to try and put on a record that would offend him, right? That was our job. And it never worked. He'd be eating, we'd put on Sex Pistols, Clash, White Riot, just put anything. And he'd always go, "Oh, not my cup of tea," but he'd never rise to the bait. He knew what we were doing. And then I won. I bought in Derek and Clive, and I put that on, and he was eating on my table with about 4 others, right? And we were listening to it, and he was chatting, and then it started on that. I had the fucking job of retrieving lobsters from Jane Mansfield's arsehole, and the headmaster went, "Turn it off," like that. Oh God, it was a victory. So yeah, punk is not dead. Are you just hearing it through the... What's the fucking point? Seriously, what is the fucking point? What the fuck? I mean, why don't things just fucking work? I'd love this to happen on the news. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong story, for fuck's sake. You can hear me, can't you? Right, questions. Stoney Scott, will you finally explain to foreigners how bollocks is bad, but the dog's bollocks is good? That's a good question. Yeah, bollocks has two meanings, doesn't it? Load of bollocks, load of rubbish, load of absolute bollocks, right? Nonsense, right? But it comes from the word bollocks, meaning slang for... So, yeah. And the reason that dog's bollocks is good, I think it's a play on those little sayings like, "Oh, it's the cat's whiskers, like the best thing, like the most important, cat's whiskers, the bee's knees." I don't know why they're so good. But yeah, so dogs are proud of their bollocks, aren't they? Like a dog with a big balls and about there, it's the dog's bollocks. Like it's important to him. I don't know. You'll have to ask someone like that woman off Countdown. Right. Kermit, you wake up with the ability to shrink down to the size of an apple. Ooh, how big's the apple? How big? Would you hop on the back of a dog or a cat when you needed a ride somewhere? So I'm like a little toy soldier. Right, okay. Which animal would you get in the most interesting way? Well, I think a dog does what it's told, doesn't it? It knows stuff. You can't... There's that saying, you can train a cat to do anything it wanted to do anyway. So a dog you could probably do, but then a dog couldn't run up a fence, could it? Or up a tree. If I wanted to run up a tree, the cat is my man. If I wanted to do a nice, sensible walk to the shops, dog. Different animals for different needs. So, great question. You notice that, so the thing's going the wrong way, the mic doesn't fucking work, I had emails coming in, dinging. Did I care? Did I fuck? I'm good in a crisis, you see? So, some people would have crumbled. I don't give a shit. So yeah, a cat I think would be more fun. But if I needed like serious, if I had to get to like somewhere like a doctor's appointment, it's the dog. Whereas if I just wanted to go on an adventure or rob a place, if I wanted to rob a house, it's the cat. So get me into the tree, get me onto that windowsill, get me in. Better than with it. You've picked up many awards throughout your career. I have better. But have you ever picked up a really good stick and carried it all the way home without putting it down? I have. I do like to. If I see a good stick, I go to Jane, that's a good stick. And I walk with it and I leave it at the edge of the heath because I don't want it in the house. Why would I want a stick in the house? But I sometimes think that's a shame. I can make that into something. Sometimes I have a hankering for whittling. And I never really do it, but I think that I'd put that on the when I'm 70 file. You know what I mean? Sitting in my castle, just whittling. Or making bow and arrows. I used to love making bows and arrows when I was a kid. My brother-in-law taught me, find a bit and get the string and... Oh. So, yes, I have carried a stick. Not all the way home, but to the edge of the heath. So... I love Bella's question. That's the thing, isn't it? It's from the perspective of a dog. Sammy. So two aliens knock on your door. So two aliens knock on your door, want you to come to their planet alone to do 2 nights of stand-up. I don't even do 2 nights in Leeds. No probing, just comedy. Can I trust them? They're there like that. What's with the? I go. What's straight away? What's with the finger? What's that for? We would like you to come to play comedy. Right. Fucking point. Put the finger away. Greenie. No. In return, they will give you the key to save the world's ecosystem. Yay or nay? See, this is why is it up to me to save the world? I didn't ask for this. It's not fair. It's not fair. And now everyone's watching all the news. It gets around, doesn't it? London comedian Ricky Gervais has been asked by aliens to play a gig, and then it will save the world. And they all go that, and I go, no. Why me? No. Send fucking Bill Cosby. No, I'm not going. I don't trust them. From what I've seen, they get me there, then it's fingers straight up the arse. Isn't it? I go, come to the venue. And I go to the venue, I go, where are all the people? And I go, where are all the people? I go, what was in that beer? And then, finger up the arse. Straight away, there I am, like a fucking lollipop. Light years from home. Nah, fuck that. Cheeky bastards. Gunner. Is this... What's the point of this? Gunner. Dog. At what point is overthrowing a government ethical, considering all the violence a revolution usually entails? It's a great question from a dog, isn't it? Well, it depends what you mean by overthrowing a government, isn't it? That, one man's That famous thing, what's the difference between a terrorist and a freedom fighter? It depends what side you're on, isn't it? And, you know, we look back now where things have been overthrown because they thought at the time it was good. And vice versa. America was founded on revolution, really, throwing out the English. So, you know, and I bet the British thought they were cheeky bastards. So it depends whose side you're on. But I mean, I think there are some clear-cut cases where terrible, abusive dictatorships are killing their subjects, and you want to go, no, fuck that. Sometimes you gotta make a stand, haven't you? I'm answering a dog. I'm answering a dog about stuff I don't know about. No one does, really. No one knows. Oh, fucking Susie, what is something you learned in the last week? What's the number one? The first movie that made you cry? Hold on, there's two questions here. What's going on, Susie? Last time you experienced nostalgia. What is going on? I've said it. Edging my bets by answering three. Well, nostalgia, I've just played some Sex Pistols. That's nostalgia. First movie that made me cry, I reckon it was Jungle Book, when I thought Baloo was dead. Spoiler alert. Okay, what is something you learned in the last week? I think I might talk that we make up, as in terms of mass, we make up 30% of all land animals. Just one species. 4% are wild animals, and the other 66% are farm animals. That's amazing, isn't it? 96% of all animals is either us or shit we want to eat. We kill and torture about 2 billion farm animals a day. Mad. I learnt that. Didn't want to know it, but I know it now. So, not all knowledge is fun, is it? Joey. Yeah, Joey the cat. Oh, he's done two questions as well, sensible and stupid. Sensible. If three characters from any of your shows were to be made into spitting image puppets, who would you choose? I'd love to see Derek and Dougie. Yeah, that's a good one. Derek, Dougie, and Derek, Dougie, and Kev would be good, wouldn't it? Got off Kev in there. That's a sensible question. Do you want to see a stupid question? Would you rather have no knees or no elbows? I think we've done this, haven't we? I remember I've answered so many fucking stupid questions from cats and dogs, but I'm pretty sure I chose no knees. I assume he means not just no kneecaps, but no knees, so your legs are just straight. So I just walk along like a little robot, but I've got all my hands, you know what I mean? I can play guitar, piano, juggle, tennis. Tennis would be a bit awkward, wouldn't it, running? But that's so much better than just straight arms, isn't it? Because I can't even fucking drink with straight arms. I'd have to do that and then just pour it. Nah, yeah, it's no knees. Gimme, you need a joint in your arm to get to your fucking mouth to eat. So yeah, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-near for me. Daniel, the year is 2041. You are 80 years old, living in a castle. What have you called your castle? Chateau. But it's spelled S-H-A-T-O-H. That. That. Chateau. Oh, that.
Jai. Jai. I'm gone again.
So, did you miss this? Yeah, Rick is Chateau Gervais. Freya, when recording the album for Life on the Road, how long did it take to finish the whole thing? Oh, that's tricky because we didn't go in and do it like a real band. They book a studio, don't they, for like a month or two. We sort of did odd days. If I added them all up, so I went in and we sort of laid down a rough rhythm track, got the right tempos, and I did the guide vocal. Then did all the backing. Probably, how many were there? There was 20 tracks, wasn't there? There's a lot of tracks. We probably did like 6 or 7 tracks a day like that. So probably 3 days doing the basic thing. Then I went in to do vocals, and that was probably 2 or 3 whole days. So 6 or 7 days. So we're into sort of like the second week if we were doing it like that. I reckon if we did it in a run, it would be like 20-something days with a mix. I mean, I reckon even with the mix and all I reckon it was a maximum of 30 days, but probably like something like 25. And it was pure fun. There was no stopping and starting. There was no, is this going to make it on? In fact, we had a little bit of time. We did some alternative versions, but I'd say we could have done it, you know, if we were really disciplined and we had all that time free. We could have done it in 3 weeks. So yeah, and I don't know. That's probably average for, you know, a real band that's just starting out. I'd have thought, to do an album. It was nothing special, but it wasn't ridiculously on the cheap either. It was certainly it was a well-made album. Still available. Thanks for asking. No one's buying it now, are they? I mean, it is 3 years old. You know, you don't often see bands every day 3 years after their albums come out saying it was still available. They probably brought out 2 more by then, but I haven't. So that's the only one you can buy. Rupert, here he is. Here's the boy Rupert. Not a boy, he's a dog, but he's a. You see, the term "the dog's bollocks" doesn't apply to Rupert because he's had them off. He's got a lonely winkle halfway up his belly, not a trace of... Isn't bollocks a good word, though? I found out I can use that on American chat shows as well, because they don't think it's a swear word, they think it's just nonsense. They don't know I'm saying balls every time. We used to, from a job of work, after work, we used to have drinks, right, and all of us, Jane and all our mates. A good game was like euphemisms, where you had to, you know that thing when you have to go round and go bang, and you have to say a word of a genre. We did things like euphemisms for people, which I think I won. You know, schlong, dong, purple-headed womb ferret, one-eyed trouser snake, pump-action yogurt rifle, all that shit, right? And you couldn't hesitate. Then we do bodily functions, and I think Jane, you know, like snot, shit, phlegm, right? And Jane won that. So it gets to you, if it gets to someone, you know, they hesitate, they're out, and so it's down to 2 people, and Jane won that. And when Jane won, she went, and I still had Snurvloyd in reserve. I won, we did euphemisms, there's loads of them, so many. It got to the point where, because there was so many people in, right? We were doing that for so long, euphemisms, minge, flange, all that, right? Some people were saying things, I go, that's not a real one. And someone said, well, none of them are real. So we allowed, if you could make one up that sounded real, you invent one, it was allowed. And our mate Tom won euphemisms for the by saying Grimsby Harbour. So that didn't make it into the dictionary. Anyway, one more. Last question. Rupert. Mum used to have sports day at school, and believe it or not, she was good at discus and 100 metres. She was fast. Only thing she's fast at now is shoveling cake in. Rupert, that's your mum you're talking about. Did you do sports day, and what were you good at? Shot put, discus, javelin, or running? Only running. I like the idea of javelin. but it was stupid because it had to make a mark. That annoyed me. Discus, I never got on with. Shot put, ridiculous. I was too puny. You need to be big. But I was good at running, only sprints. And I was, I think I was like that annoying third or fourth fastest. So nothing to brag about. Nothing at all to brag about, in fact. I was okay at everything. The only thing I excelled at, and that was only in my school, was tennis. I think that's because no one really played it or cared much. I was good at martial arts. I did judo and I loved all that. Kempo, karate, jiu-jitsu. Yeah. But that was later. So yeah, I wanted to be good at football. Hated rugby. Terrified. Wanted to be good at cricket. Terrified to bat. Got quite good at bowling. Just stayed away from the bat. Just. The idea in our school was to maim the batsman. So that put me off. Thanks for following. Follow me on Instagram as well, because I might do these over there. Different, Imagine if I went over Instagram and it's exactly the same. How could that even be possible? But you know why I do it, don't you? I do it for you guys. You. No. You. The awards. No. You. Thanks very much. Have a great week. Be nice to animals. Tatty bye, everyone. Tatty bye. First of all, thank you for all your well wishes and inquiries about my little incident. So, what happened was, when was it? What day was it? Wednesday night. About 1 a.m. at night, I'm asleep. And a pain in my sort of side woke me up. Like a shooting pain. That never happens. So, oh God, what was that? And it happened again. And my first thought was obviously liver cancer. Right? And in the middle of the night, that praise, you're convinced. Well, that is it. I've blown it, And I got another pain that, oh God. And then I felt sick. And I went to throw up, but I couldn't. Which I thought, maybe it's stomach cancer. Right? And then I couldn't be sick. There was nothing there. But the pain of the vomiting was incredible. It was an intensity. And you forget how bad vomiting is. You know what I mean? You just forget how awful. I mean, never mind the illness and thinking you're going to die. You can't breathe. And I think I'm going to choke. I think that I'm not going to get my breath back between it. And the spasm. Like the next day, even when I was over it, if I coughed, my ribs... I thought, I've ripped my stomach lining here. So, right, all this is happening in my head as well. And then that happened a few times, and I started sweating and cold sweating. I thought, what is this? It's coronavirus. I've had that before. I called it off one of my nieces, or great nieces, one Christmas. They were, everyone got ill. And again, that happened in the middle of the night as well. So I sort of started recognising it. Oh, Jesus. That didn't stop me thinking at one point that it might have been radiation sickness. I just thought, it could be. You know what I mean? You never know. Someone might have been walking behind me with a bit of plutonium once. Right? But anyway, I was pretty sure after a couple of hours this was coronavirus. So I was trying to fight it then, and then it started. The other end started, which is a relief, really, because I'd rather it come out that way than fire on my face. You know what I mean? Because diarrhea, you go whatever. You go, it's not me. I can't. It's just happening, right? Emptying, like just pulling the plug. But Oh, yeah, I think everything. I'd rather everything came out that way. And then I was still sort of wretched as well. And then nothing was coming, and then a bit of sort of brown stuff. I thought, is that bile? Or am I vomiting from my ass? Right? Because I know sort of too much but not enough. Because I knew that a cyanide makes, reverse peristalsis from the bowel. So you die of vomiting your own. Right? So I thought, that's like I've had some cyanide. But anyway, in general, give me diarrhea over vomiting. Not even vomiting, retching without the relief of sick. Is this interesting? Is this what you tuned in for? Now, has anyone talked about sick and shit as much in any broadcast ever? So anyway, it was at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock rock, and it's both ends, right? And I know a lot of people during coronavirus, they've told me that they were sitting on the toilet and throwing up in the bath. Now, because I've got a bit of cash, my bath is miles from the toilet, right? So I couldn't do that. So I was having to spin round. I was trying to time it. I was going, no, quick, sit down. The old Roxy Music song, Both Ends Burning, springs to mind. So anyway, then I couldn't even, water made me feel sick. I couldn't even rehydrate because water gave me the sort of urge to throw up and it hit my stomach. And then eventually, what worked, I had a Lemsip and a Gaviscon. Is it Gaviscon? And it sort of worked for me. I could lay down without wanting to be sick. If I moved, I wanted to be sick, but I could lay down. And it was all over by about 6 o'clock that morning. I still couldn't get up. I couldn't eat. So I think I got up I had half a banana for lunch in bed. And I think I eventually got up about 3 o'clock that afternoon. And it was all over. I still felt weak. I mean, I couldn't even face a beer till about 8 o'clock that night. So, yeah, that's the story. Unbelievable. Don't want that again. That's the other thing, it's going to happen again one day, don't you? You know it's going to, Anyway, questions. Keena, do you get any anxiety before playing gigs at massive venues? Yes. Such as the States? If so, how do you deal with this? Well, if you mean the Hollywood Bowl, yes. And I don't usually. People say, do you get nervous for a gig? And I say, no. I'd never get nervous before a gig. I know what I'm doing. The warm-ups, I don't know laugh or not, but that's what it's about, and you enjoy that. And then by the time you're playing arenas, you know it works, and it sort of works every night. I think the only time I've got nervous is like the Golden Globes, because it's live and there's 100 million people watching. So if you make one mistake, everyone sees it and you can't take it back. But I don't usually get nervous for a gig. But I did with the Hollywood Bowl, and I don't know whether it was the sense of occasion or it was the unknown or it was so big. The sound check, I walked out of the sound check and I went, because it's not just a big venue, it sort of goes on forever, and it goes into nature. There's no walls. It just sort of, the seats go on forever, and into the trees. It's like a natural, I don't know what you'd call it. It's like a valley, and they built this state. And when I went out, the crowd were amazing, and it was you lose your nerves immediately. Actually, as soon as you walk out, you're at work, and you forget everything. It's just a gig then. But the weird thing about it was, all my fears they disappeared. I was thinking, what if they're not listening? Of course they were listening. Some of them have paid thousands of dollars. They're not going to go and not listen, right? So, but these play on your mind. What if it rains? It didn't. First of all, I said when the promoter said, I said, what about the echo? So big. Well, there's no echo because there's no walls. Oh yeah, of course, science. So it was great immediately. But with the thing that it's built in, like an aircraft hangar, like the shape of like a sky dish, right? There's birds roosting. So I went out and there's a roar of the crowd, but all these birds were sort of woken up. So the crowd couldn't hear them, but I could hear. I was like playing a gig in an aviary. So it was quite sweet. It was quite like a Disney cartoon. So yeah, I don't usually get anxious, but I did there. How do you deal with it? You just got to go. It's what's the worst that can happen? You don't have to do it once. You know, you're not filming it. It's not like, you know, I've got to get everything perfect. You just play with it, and you just go into work. Really, you just got to go. You're going to work, and you think, oh, what a privilege! This is a privilege. This is amazing. But the thing that gets me through it is they've paid money to see you. They want to like it. You know what I mean? 20,000 people don't buy a ticket to go there and go, this is rubbish. You know, they're your fans, really. If I walked out, you know, if, I don't know, One Direction were playing and I went out and said, can I do 20 minutes, lads? I might struggle. But they're all there to see me, so it couldn't be more conducive to being a brilliant gig, and it was amazing, and yeah, it is still surreal. So thanks to everyone who bought a ticket and everyone who tried, and yeah, it was an amazing night. And the promoter said you could do this again, and I went, when? And they went, do it again in 18 months, and I thought, I was very flattered, but I think I'd quite like it to be. There's part of me that goes, I could do even better, and it'd be amazing to play it twice. But I think there's something amazing about playing it once. If that makes sense, it makes it more special. That time I played the Hollywood Bowl, but we'll see. Sam, when you do your live shows in countries where English isn't their first language, do you have to adjust your sets at all? Do some jokes not land as well? Well, I only play countries where English is their second language, but they are fluent in it. So, and also, any country you play, they're only going if they speak English. They know I'm not doing it in their language. So even if wherever you play, if you play, you know, a big country, you only need a few thousand people that are fluent in your language, and they're the only ones that go along. And also there are certain countries that there is no language barrier at all. Scandinavia, you know, Benelux countries, you know, cosmopolitan areas of most of Europe speaks English. English people are the lazy ones. No, I do make some. I probably do speak a bit clearer. Also, when I'm playing an overseas venue, I'm playing big venues because I'm only there one night. So I do play big venues. So you sort of speak clearer anyway. You speak to the back of the room and articulate a bit more. So that certainly helps. I talk about universal subjects. I'd never talk about what I watched on Channel 4 last night. I'd never talk about, you know, British Big Brother. I talk about, you know, universal subjects, you know, Hitler, cancer, famine. Those dudes are evergreen. So I talk about universal subjects. The thing that sometimes catches you out, that even though they speak fluent English and I understand every word you say and your cultural references are universal, there was a thing in I think it was in Supernature where the line was it was then I realised I could myself. And in some countries it didn't get the laugh. And I thought, oh, they don't know what, that's a euphemism. They don't know, why would you yourself? They don't have that saying. So I had to change it to, and then I realised I'd made a terrible mistake. Right? So it's things like that you don't, and we use a lot of euphemism. We use a lot of sayings and euphemisms that we just take for granted. You can't have your cake and eat it. You know, and people go, what do you mean you can't have your cake and eat it? What? So you don't realise that those euphemisms are really sort of parochial in a way. But outside that, everything works everywhere, really. I mean, certainly 99% of it. But yeah, you do think about those things. Ricky, have you got a stand-up venue on your bucket list? Where is your dream place? I haven't, because I wouldn't really know about them till I've played them. There's certainly places I go, oh my God, that was magical. I definitely want to play there again. And I think, given that if they speak fluent English, the venue probably makes more of a difference than the country in many ways. When you're playing 10,000 people are the same, you know. But there are certainly magical venues and magical cities, like, you know, Dublin. Dublin's always amazing. It's always one louder. I think the Olympia in Paris was great. Rock and roll venues are really good. Those rock and roll sort of places that are sort of old, established venues. Victorian theatres are really good. They're packed in, they're shaped right. It's perfect for comedy. But now arenas are getting better. I didn't like arenas at first, but now arenas are built better with better acoustics and the better shape and better sound. And with the big screens, it's almost more intimate because they're at the event, and they can look up and see your facial expressions that they couldn't traditionally. Dream place. I like visiting places. I like finding out. So there's loads of places I haven't been. You know, what have I been to? I can't even work it out. A few % of the world. I heard. I think Afterlife certainly is big in, like, you know, South America. So I'd love to play somewhere like Argentina one day. It's just too far, isn't it? I've heard there's a new plane that goes to America in like 50 minutes. I'll probably be before it's... I don't know though. Technology's moving along, isn't it? So there, I'll fly around. I'll go... If I can get to anywhere in the world in a couple of hours, I will play everywhere. If it's really safe. I want someone else to test it first. I forget the name of the bloke who's doing it, but, you know, let him test it. I want to know I want the stats. I want to see how... If they say this is safer than crossing the road, that is a particularly surreal thing to do. For a British stand-up comedian to play the Hollywood Bowl, let alone sell it out, is pretty amazing. But yes, I don't take any of this for granted. I wake up every day thinking I've got to do something here. Got to keep, you know, you try and keep improving and keep interest in it, and you're grateful. No, I'm not one of those that thinks I can do anything and it just lasts forever. You have to work at it. In fact, in a way, it sort of gets harder because you're judged by your last thing. So the better your last thing is, the harder it is for you to beat it. So yeah, I do. I can't believe it. I mean, I always look back to my beginnings. Really, I'm very, very grateful, and I know how lucky I am in a way, because there is an amount of luck. You know, it could have happened to someone else. There's loads of people that are as good and work as hard, and it doesn't happen. Yeah, of course I did. Are you a vegan for health or political reasons? Well, neither. I think you mean ethical reasons. I'm a vegan because of ethical reasons. I think it is probably healthier in certain aspects, particularly for things like colon cancer and probably obesity and cholesterol, certainly. But you can be an unhealthy vegan. I'm living proof. And you can be a very healthy meat eater. So it's not that. No, it's ethical reasons. I couldn't sort of live with myself anymore. I tried to convince myself that it was okay being a vegetarian, but then I found out what has to happen for you to have eggs. Like they gas the baby male chicks or liquidise them just because they want. It's horrible. And I told myself that I only ate free range, and I found out that free range meant they have to have 2 feet instead of, bolted in a cage. And then dairy, I just couldn't, and I don't go around lecturing people about it, because I think it's a slow process, and I think people dig in if I started lecturing people, telling them they were bad. And also, I think there is something to be said with, even if you're wrong, that vegetarianism isn't any more ethical than, eating meat. I think it's a step in the right direction psychologically, because I think all you can do is be better than you were yesterday. That's all. Just change the world a little bit. And giving up meat does make a difference to the world. There's this stat that if you eat meat every day, if you give up 1 day a week, we could feed another 100 million people, because just the amount of water and grain it takes to feed a cow to be eaten by a certain amount of people is like ridiculous times the amount of the nutrition you can get from plant-based things, cutting down rainforests to feed cows and stuff. But, I don't want to, because I think that annoys people and it puts them off and it makes them feel bad. And I just think you've got to change. You've got to change for your own reasons. But yeah, I do it for ethical reasons as opposed to health. I mean, it wouldn't make sense, would it, to eat plant-based stuff for health and then drink a bottle of red wine? So no, I just want to go. Oh, I didn't any animals today. It's that, really. How does it feel knowing that Afterlife has helped so many people? Amazing. It is the best thing about it, and I never thought it would be. And I've never done anything, in entertainment. In fact, I've been belligerent. I've gone, art isn't to, change people's values or to preach. It's to entertain. And I still did that with Afterlife, and it was a happy coincidence that it did touch people in that way, which shows that if you do what's passionate, then you probably do make a difference anyway. You don't have to try, if you know what I mean. I mean, you can try not to harm anyone, but I just think if you do something that's genuinely interesting and entertaining and means something to you, then it will mean something to other people. But yeah, it feels, just the sheer amount of people that watched it. I've heard it's like 125 million now, which is crazy. And that figure is who watched the whole series. I know that I think it was like BBC iPlayer, when they say that 12 million people watched this show. I looked at it. What they actually mean is that if it's like a 6-part thing, they mean that 2 million people watched each episode. So they go, that's 12. No, it isn't. That's 2 million people watch the whole episode. If I did that with Afterlife, what would that be? It'd be like 700 million people. No, 120 million people watched the whole show, which is staggering enough. Yeah, and that's what makes me worried about the next thing. What if the next thing I do only gets 50 million? I feel like a failure. I see these boy bands, right? So these poor boy bands, and they're all at 17, and they've had 3 number ones. And I know that when they get a number 2, their record company goes, "You bad boys, you give us something. You're getting no more money. There's some other kids here." So it's terrible. You mustn't think about those things. You mustn't think about those things. It's lovely. You go, "Oh, that's good," and then you mustn't think about it. But you do. You do. How far have you got with the new series? Oh, Doris. Oh God. I mean, I've got 2 things on the go now that are almost at pilot stage. In fact, I just thought there's a 3rd thing as well, that might happen. But I don't know what to do. I don't know whether to do one of them. I don't know which one to do. I don't know whether to do both. They've both been sort of greenlit, if I want to do them, by Netflix. I can't tell you about it, but anyway, one's animation and I'm in one. But I've got the idea and the synopsis, and I've probably got a cobbled together a pilot script. But I'm enjoying stand-up too much. I would be happy to never do another show again. It's got to that stage. And not just because I think I can't beat Afterlife or whatever, but I don't know what there is to beat, full stop. But there is something to beat with stand-up. I can change it every night. I can go with the flow. I can see the world. I can be. I feel that I'm braver in stand-up than anything else I do as well. But I do love the other thing as well. I also feel guilty. I feel like I should be working in the day. You know what I mean? So yeah. It's like you've got to write an essay and you think, "Oh, I've got a few weeks yet." And it just gets closer, you go, "Oh, I've got to write an essay soon." That's why I never give myself deadlines, because that'll just stress me out. I'll do it when it happens, or not. And there might be another idea that comes along and beats them both, so I don't know.